Greetings and welcome to the second episode of Changes in Between. Changes in Between is the official podcast of the Between Project, where we discuss the latest developments on DLSU's road to digital transformation to become a leading regional university. Today, we dive deep into the developments, processes, challenges, and possibilities of harnessing technology to empower the Lasallian community of lifelong learners.
Today we are joined by Brother Bernard Oca, FSC Chancellor, Dr. Robert Roleda, Vice Chancellor for Academics, and Mr. Allan Borra, Project Executive of Between and Director of ITSC. Now, starting off with our first question, could you please give us an overview of the digital transformation roadmap and how each step is essential?
It's a 3-year project, and we started by taking stock of where we are at right now, knowing the processes, and defining a target for the processes. And that's just the first year. The second year is about getting the right vendors for us, getting the right partners that will provide us the good fit to our requirements that was laid out on the first year. And on the last year, after we have implemented the partner solution, we make sure that what was promised should be realized. And so the last year is really about making sure that we have transformed organizationally, I suppose. Process-wise, we're doing it already. And if there's a miss with respect to the targets that we have set out, we tweak it out and make sure that the whole 3 years, the LSU is effectively on a digital space.
Well, as I mentioned in one forum, that De La Salle University has to live up to its byline. The future begins here, and we should really be seeing the future through the experience of people who are part of De La Salle University. So, if, for example, our processes are Jurassic, then we're all not living up to what we're saying we are capable of doing. So we really did go through what are our processes and how can we really improve and transform it using through all the available technology and even future technology that we can be open to, so that we can enhance the learning experience here in De La Salle, not only for the students, although you are the most important, but also for our faculty, for our staff, for everyone who's involved here. That we are going to use everything that we have, that we're capable of, use the resources so that we can give the best type of service and building a sense of community through this service.
I guess we grew from a small university in the 1980s to the 2000s, and we've been always a pioneer in introducing technology in the country. But on one hand, that's good. On the other hand, is a lot of our technology are old because we were using the first generation technology, and over the years it has built up, and we essentially have a system where we have patch ups for different parts of the system. So I guess it's really time for us to really overhaul the whole thing, integrate all the different systems, and try to also look at the processes, because the processes that we developed were designed on a manual-based process that was computerized, rather than from a computerized system, and look for systems or processes that will streamline everything.
So just so we're all on the same page with the viewers, in what phase of the Between project are we currently in?
We're currently in engaging with a vendor or a service provider or a solutions provider. So I mentioned earlier it's a 3-year project. We're done with the first year, by which we took stock. We unprecedentedly documented the processes involved here, and it blows my mind how few people know about processes. And then through the years, when one retires, these different kinds of stock knowledge also retires along. And so it's a wonderful journey of documenting all of these, and at the same time creating a target document for these, for the processes. So we've done that in the first year, and now we are the second year, early second year, wherein we have already engaged 3 solutions providers, and they're looking at how fit they are with respect to the requirements that we set out in our targets. And so that's where we're at right now. And we're looking at cutting over. We call it cut over by August 31, 2020.
We also have begun our training. For
Yes.
the past few weeks, we have already been training some of our people in this like first step of the art of transformation, and they are finding, wow, I'm capable of doing this, pala, and oh, it's not as overwhelming as I thought, and so they some were pushed beyond their comfort zones, but as you know that when you're pushed beyond your comfort zones and you realize, oh, I didn't have these skills that or strengths that I didn't realize I was capable of doing. So I think the overall experience of many of those who have gone through the training has been very positive. And I hope that those that will also be called upon now to continue their training will be open to this change in mindset, and open to getting new skills and being retrained and really joining this transformation.
Guess in the last few weeks that I've got on board between project, with the meetings that I have is mostly about how matching the capabilities of the software applications with the processes that you have. And we can already see that there are a lot of processes that we can actually simplify. And the other thing, like yesterday's talk about HR, is with this project, we see that many of our staff will actually have to do higher level work once this is online. We will have lesser of the low level task. And so that means our staff will also have to upskill, and it's really time for growth for everyone.
And I'm really looking forward to the time that, although it's happening already, that enrollment will be just 10-15 minutes, that you take out your cell phone and then you just do this, that, oh, I'm enrolled already. Oh, these are my subjects. Oh, this is already the cost of my subjects. Then I press the button, I'm paid. Then I'm finished. I'm already enrolled for. So I think that day will come, that this efficiency, this service will take place.
And on the note of transformation and going beyond one's comfort zone, what are the current challenges and developments during this time of implementation?
I have to say it really is complex. It involves the technology from the 3 domains: HR, student life cycle, and finance. The people they mentioned really is the more complex one. It's complex. It's sometimes uncomfortable. So conversations there are sometimes uncomfortable, but primarily because of we really have to step back and then say, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do something new. I'm going to do something better, something that will be a fit to the objectives of the university. And so that's the whole gamut or spectrum of activities in between. So these are the challenges that we are facing. And it makes it wonderful to note as well that part of our journey on transformation and training was our DLSUI, why we're here. And I'm getting a sense of they have a strong why they're here. They're always service driven. And it surpasses the circumstance of their job and who they are. So how the way I see it, I think we've been collapsing job and person as one. We have dissected the two. There's tasks and jobs, and there's a person. And who this person is service driven for sure, regardless of what job will be given to him.
What about the challenges, Bobby, that you've heard regarding the integration?
Well, there are a lot of people asking what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So of course we cannot provide answers right now because
Completely,
we're still at the stage of trying to match the application with processes and the people. But in time, I think this will all be clarified, and that is actually when we can really clarify to the people what's going to happen.
You see, there are different kinds of people's approaches to change. So there are some that will say, okay, change is there, okay, I'm going to face it. And there's some who are a little afraid, you just need a little push and then take baby steps, you hold their hands. But there are some that say, I don't want to change anymore. I just want to do what I want to do. Now, that type of attitude, that's going to be a little difficult if you want to transform. So, from the people that I have encountered in different fora, I guess the great majority are really looking forward. Say, okay, what is it really that we can do? What type of training are you going to offer us? And these few weeks have shown us that it's been very positive.
So going forward, what are the possible effects of the implementation of the Between project on personal jobs? I mean, we've discussed the changing of roles, but
Yeah.
apart from that, are there any other areas that need further explanation? Like, what has been the feedback of the personnel? Has there been like presumptions that they might lose their jobs?
Yeah.
And how has the Between project addressed that?
But for any ERP project, there are always the assumption that jobs will be lost because things will be a little more efficient. But as Dr. Bobby said, we really still do not know what is it that will be needed. In fact, what we're discovering is there might be new jobs available because of this transformation. So again, it is now matching people who are open to change to take on these new challenges. But what I'd like to make as a statement, and I've said this several times, that we will always take care of our people, our partners in education. De La Salle University made a commitment. We are not going to retrench our people. And this is the same attitude that we have. As much as possible, we will take care of everyone.
Well, as we go through between, departments, units will be streamlined. So you will see smaller complements in the units. But at the same time, the university itself is moving in different directions, in many directions. There are many projects that we are looking into implementing, and this would require new personnel. Maybe per unit twice, there will be reduction of personnel, but university-wide, it might even be increase of personnel because of new programs that we're making.
Yeah. It's amazing what are the opportunities out there that the university is being asked to accept because they all want to have a Lasallian education. And if that's going to take place, then wow, we will not even have enough to fund or human resources to meet all of those requirements. Laguna alone is growing very, very fast, but we have also invitations in so many other places. So again, but with a very efficient system, we can do that, but we will also need a lot of people.
So you guys talk a lot about, transformation, and basically a lot of it has to do with shaking things up, kind of making changes, especially with how staff and personnel have been doing things for years. But what will happen if a personnel is unable to meet the competencies required for the new roles or processes?
Then we will find what competencies they are capable of doing if there are available areas with those competencies.
As I said earlier, there are new programs we're developing, and some of those programs may require not really the high-level jobs that we will have here. So there might be still places for people like those. But I think a critical part of the Between project is associated with the transformation of our HR. The training of our HR will be very important part of the Between project. So we will try. The world has changed. We cannot stand still while the world is changing.
And I really want to align with the message of the brother president last August. It's lifelong learners. And as a university who espouses that, I want to be in integrity with that. In this case, the office that I'm in, IT services. And so it's a shared responsibility really of what constitutes the LSU. And being a shared responsibility, we express our integrity of being a lifelong learner by really embracing change. And that's my invitation really. So it's a hard invitation, but it's an invitation still.
But as I mentioned, that the principle is that we will take care of our own. We will take care of each other. And so for cases that people are just saying, some will be saying, I really don't want to change, or these are just my competencies now. Then administration, management will be talking with them and really find a solution to the situation where they are.
Well, thank you very much. This has been a very informational exchange, and I feel like we are very excited for further developments in the Between project, and so is the rest of the community. So I think this will be the perfect time for the audience to ask some of the panel some questions.
Hello, my name is Joaquin. I am a writer from the Lasallian. So I would like to ask a question regarding the program. How will prototypes be tested? What will happen to the current processes while testing is ongoing?
We are in the process of what we call, in the stage of our project, we're doing a matching and prototyping. So what happens here, the system already exists. So similar to Canvas, when we engaged or subscribed with Canvas, Canvas already exists. And so it's really more on, does Canvas fit our needs? So in the matching and prototyping, we look at the different spectrum of processes being done by the different offices. And we see how fit, for instance, enrollment process being done by a platform for our purpose. So there's admission, there's enrollment, and we look into that and we see how fit that is, and then after which they can configure now their current system or their current program based on our requirements. So that's how prototyping happens. In other words, if you were to relate it to Canvas, since that's what we have right now, effectively we are just given the platform and we're told to just use it. That's how it is. That's how the prototyping happens. And that's how the testing is being done. I have simplified it, but actually what happens after the matching and prototyping, user acceptance test will happen. So it's I think a month-long or 2-month-long activity by which the end users, even the students, some of you will have to be engaged with respect to using the system and see how it actually fits our purpose. Now, along the way, I'm sure that we still have our existing system, right? We still have Animo.sys and we still have MyLaSal. And so we are cognizant that some of our process people will be taken off from their work, be trained, and to also be onboarded to Between so that they can now start learning the new platforms. And so part of the Between's organizational structure support is to provide project teams that can do the operations while people that are offloaded from their offices can be trained while they're out, and operations will still continue. So that's the commitment of Between.
Ako po si Janelle Tiu mula sa Ang Pahayagang Plaridel. Gusto ko lamang itanong kung paano masisiguro at mapapangalagaan ang data privacy sa bagong sistemang ito?
Magandang tanong yan. Ang director natin sa Data Privacy Office, si Mr. Danny Cheng, laging kasama sa lahat ng mga pag-uusap at mga pag-aaral ng mga processes kasama ng mga vendors. At yun ang kanyang unang-unang chine-check. Paano ba masisigurado na ang data ay magagamit lamang sa tamang paraan. So he makes sure na sinisigurado niya na talaga ang data privacy policy ay magagawa at pasisiguraduhin magiging mabuti ang data privacy.
Actually, pagkakataon din to para ma-review natin yung mga data na kinokolekta natin sa mga estudyante. Mga 2 weeks ago, tiningnan namin yung listahan ng mga data at natingnan na rin namin na may mga data na di naman talaga kailangan kunin. So, kasama na yun sa pag-examine sa anong mga klaseng data kailangan talaga natin itago at kolektahin.
I'm just happy that Danny is here. Si Danny ang kasama namin sa project na siya yung sumusundot sa amin na teka din yung pala tingnan tong aspetong to. Sa privacy, at ang daming may apat siya ng prinsipyo na parating sinasabi sa project team, yung proportionality. Kukolektahin lang ba natin yung ating data sakto lang para sa mamagampan natin yung trabaho natin, yung proportionality. Also on legality, so kukolektahin natin to dahil meron tayong legal purpose for collecting the data. Danny also went to the length of titingnan niya yung kontrata kung paano ba hinahandle ng service provider yung datos natin. So tinitingnan namin yun. Sinusuguro namin na meron ba silang certification. ISO 27001. Yan yung ISO certification para meron kang information security management system. So lahat ng to tinitingnan, gusto makita ni Danny para maisiguro lang, magkaroon ng assurance lang na kung ano yung proseso na ginagawa ng vendor natin, ng partner natin, kung paano sila mag-test ng data, mag-test ng system gamit ba data natin, lahat ng to, gusto niyang ma-surface para masabi natin, hindi niya dapat ginagawa yan. Kasi datos namin yan. Tapos kung ginagawa man nila yan, dapat magpaalam sila sa atin parate. So lahat ng to, kasama to sa conversation namin with Danny. Meron kasi kami mga prinsipyo na nilatag muna bago kami mag-make ng decisions. Isa doon ay compliance sa regulations and legal compliance. So kasama doon yung data privacy. And so, it's alam ko bago lang tong data privacy, 2012. Pero if you think about 7 years na rin siya.
Pero implementation is...
But it's a necessary quote-unquote evil, ano? So we are aligned with that because we're primarily operating based on principles. We are going to engage with you eventually to help us test the system. It's not going to be the whole 14,000 or 16,000 of you, but probably starting with the USG, people who are very keen in volunteering and giving us feedback. We'd love to engage with you. We have Joey behind you. She's our comms team. So team talaga, no? Mag-isa ka lang na team. Yes, but she's there to engage with the students, to help us really ascertain that we are ready for going live. So yes, so expect that in the next few months.
I was wondering if there are possible risks in terms of security or deletion of data.
Okay.
Yeah, the risks. That's why there's where our data privacy officer and he really also looks at the risks of data being lost and being misused.
Yes.
So he's very, very strict and eagle-eyed in making sure that that risks are controlled and that this data will not disappear. So I'm Mr. Danny Cheng again, our Director of Data Privacy, is on top of that.
What the project team is doing is these risks needs to be surfaced, needs to be explicit para alam namin, parating namin nakikita, andyan siya, posibleng mangyari to. So, ang ginagawa namin, kinakausap namin yung vendor, meron ba kayong certification ng ISO? Hinihingi na. So, tulad ng nasagot ko kanina, meron ba kayong certification ng ISO? That's one. The other one is on on data assurance. Ano? So part of ITS role now, since everything is going to the cloud, is to have backups of our master data. So part of our role is not just ensuring that operations are there, but also on the possibility that 3 days of outage, will it be something workable for us? So even the continuity of our data and our processes, we're also looking keenly into that. And by looking, we're also putting in mechanisms, compensatory actions, or even trigger a manual revert, just so we continue with our operations, continue with the data, putting in other dimensions like disaster recovery. So lahat ng to was primarily surfaced because there's a risk called data loss and data misuse. And so that's part of the project management discipline.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode of Changes in Between. For more information and updates on the Between project, feel free to check out www.dlsu.edu.ph/between.